welcome back to Golfing the Tri-State. This is Tip of the Week with Mamie Wood, PGA professional here at Quail Crossing, and we're going to work on our bunker play.
We are, Joe, we are.
How do you start? I mean, this is like the hardest shot, wouldn't you say?
It is difficult
golf?
for, especially for the golfer who doesn't play that much, and it's more intimidating, I think, than anything. It really is. So to start, you do want to get the right club.
Right.
We want to make sure we have a sand wedge that has some bounce on it. You do want to see what your situation is in the sand. If your bunker is a little bit wet, this bunker here next to the green, we watered this morning, so it is a little bit wet. So it's going to be, the sand's going to be a little firmer, as opposed to something with, have some golfers who play maybe in Florida where there's really abundance of white fluffy sand. Exactly. Yeah. So in those situations, you want to have a club that bounces, has a little more bounce to the club. Here we're going to want to have one that doesn't bounce so much, because if it bounces, it'll bounce up, hit the top part of the ball, and that's where you get those scooters.
Little thin scooters.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the bounce, isn't it, right here?
The bounce is the back part. So if you take your club and you hold it up against your hand, and you see how the edge of my club is up and the back is down, that's the bounce. Okay. And what I'm going to do with this club is I'm not going to lay it open so much to get too much bounce. I'm going to lay it a little bit more like this, since the sand is a little bit firmer. Okay. So it'll dig a little bit more, because basically what we want to do in the bunker is we want to actually throw the sand out. The ball's just going to come out with the sand. With the sand. Right, right. So if we can throw the sand out, the ball should come out with the sand. Okay. Okay.
How do we begin?
Well,
how do you get me out of the sand, Mamie?
One, we hope that the person who's been in the sand before us has raked the bunker. Right. Because you know that when we get in the bunker, you're not allowed to touch anything in the bunker because it is a hazard, except for your feet when you walk in. So you can't get in and make yourself a little tee.
And you can't touch
You cannot touch the sand.
Right.
Right.
Like
with
Dustin
your club.
did last year. Dustin Johnson.
Exactly. He was in a spot he didn't realize that he couldn't touch it, but he did. So you can't touch the sand. So what you want to do is hold the club a little bit above the sand. You want to walk in. Of course, like I said, you can't touch the sand, but you can walk in with your feet, and your feet will tell you, oh, this sand feels a little firmer. So then you kind of know what kind of shot you want to hit. Not
use as much bounce.
Exactly, not use as much bounce. We want to make sure we get down under it, and again, the sand just lifts it up into the air for us. Okay. So what we want to do is look at our situation. The pin on this hole is a little bit closer. We want to make sure we don't decelerate. So we want to take almost a pretty full swing, again taking all the sand, and then the ball will just pop out for us. Okay. Okay. All right. Do you want to do it?
Okay.
Or do you want me to do it?
Well, you can hit one.
Well, we'll see. Okay. All right. So what we want to do is we want to assess our situation. The pin's a little bit closer. So I'm going to walk up. I am going to plant my feet a little bit more. Again, I'm not going to put the club open too much because there's a little bit too much bounce there. So I'm going to plant my feet a little bit. I'm gripping down just a little bit on the club. And I'm going to take a pretty full swing. Of course, like I said, I can't touch the sand, but I want to look at something back in here, and I just want to take out a chunk, just like if I take a divot on the green, okay? Or on the, not on the green, obviously, but in the fairway. So I'm going to take a nice full swing. I'm going to keep my body fairly steady and just use my hands and arms and pop it right up like that.
Mamie. That's awesome.
Okay. You didn't know I was out here early this morning practicing.
Didn't know how good you were. Man.
So,
my problem is when I know I want to hit the sand first, but I'm so used to hitting the full shots, hitting the ball first, because you're always saying hit the ball first.
Exactly.
I like hit too much sand, or
well, you probably don't hit too much sand, you just decelerate when you hit that sand.
That's probably my problem.
That is. It probably, and I'll tell you what, this is a good practice. Don't do it on the golf course. Find a bunker that's somewhere, like we have a bunker that's next to our little practice screen, and get out there, stand a little bit on the back side, because you're going to be hitting shots. What I would do is not even have a ball there, okay? Right. Stand a little bit back, because you're going to be hitting sand out, and I would just stand and try to take swings. See, I'm feeling, I'm hitting the sand.
Hitting the sand. That's a good idea.
Just get a good feel of hitting the sand and not being afraid to hit the sand.
Not being afraid to hit it.
Right,
that's probably my
full swings.
I'm probably afraid. I'm a chicken.
You know.
Okay, well here we go.
Okay, Joe.
So
Now, just focus on a little bit behind the ball,
a little bit behind.
right? And we're
Not
gonna
so open.
not so open. We're gonna take, just let that sand just put the, super.
Got it out. That was
See?
kind of a long bunker shot.
Well, and again, that's because this sand is a little bit firmer. So it was a little longer bunker shot just because you don't have as much sand to help,
right.
you know, slow your club down.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So
it's an awesome tip.
work.
Awesome tip.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
Joe.
much. Tip of the week, Miss Mamie Wood in the sand, playing in the sandbox today at Quail Crossing. We're going to go play hole 7 in a little while, Joe's scorecard, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about Quail Crossing next segment, about how you can have events out here, your wedding, your reception. I mean, this is a beautiful facility. Golfing the Tri-State coming up, Mamie Wood at Quail Crossing.